My mother grew up in a Lafitte housing project across the street. I remember going to meet my great-grandmother, and all of them, my whole family, used to patronize Dooky Chase.
If my family was going to a restaurant, that meant we were going to Dooky's. Like, it was us going out, it was us having a meal together.
As a kid, that was always special for me to go over across the street.
Whenever we went, I had to go peek my head in the back to go see Miss Chase. I couldn't be there and not go say hi. I'd have got talked about if she found out that I was there and didn't go in there.
Then, as I got of age, understanding my interest as an artist, seeing the work that Miss Chase had collected, and it became for me a place to study as well.
It was like the greatest collection of art that I had ever been around as a little kid, and I used to always have my favorite place to sit in there just so I could always look at the Bruce Bryce painting on that far wall.
Some of the special things that I can remember of meeting so many people, going with John Scott on a Sunday with artist friends, sitting down and Miss Chase would bring out a meal. There's course after course coming, and we're just having a great time, having a good conversation among ourselves, but also too with Miss Chase. It was an honor for me to become one of those artists who have a piece in her collection. Getting to meet her and to know her, and of course to love her, was a big part of my life. On the second floor in Dooky Chase Restaurant, a historic place, we think, where people who were part of the civil rights movement were using it to meet before the segregation laws were changed in New Orleans. And so we're trying to honor those people and honor that memory, and to understand that we still are in the fight. This is not a thing that actually happened, but something that we thought of in our own imagination. What would have happened if all of these particular heroes and sheroes would have come together in this space? We decided to use those people who are primarily from here, from New Orleans, or made a big effect in New Orleans. In the piece, we have Aretha Castle Haley, Dorothy Mae Taylor. We have Ronnie Moore, one of the founders in New Orleans of CORE. We have Llewellyn Soniat, Rosa Keller, Big Duck. Jerome Smith is to the left over there.
The room itself will be restored with this old magnolia wallpaper that used to be upstairs. So I painted the outside of the framing to match the wallpaper in the room. And then the inside of that is intended to feel like a painting on the wall. So I've painted a frame.
As you walk up the stairs to get to this room, it is sort of a passageway for me.
It's kind of a portal. I want you to be looking into a time and space in this upper room at the restaurant where you get greeted by the family.
It's like if you walk into one of the chambers in ancient Egypt, you will see the story told on the walls, but in the passageways, those things that you have to touch. And so I want to have that feeling that every space that you move through in this area is sacred. And working with the students that I have with me, two of them are recent graduates. They graduated this year, but the students also too had a similar idea. And they thought that the bottom of the steps will have figures as well, but they will be part of the wallpaper. And then as you walk up the stairs, you get to this area where the figures are brightly colored. And then when you get to the top of the stairs, you look straight ahead and you see Ayo's mural, which is a greeting from those people who were the founders.
While I feel like the rest of the room going up the stairs and the rest of the mural done by Mr. B and students is a bit more for the public and history, I almost feel like this welcome is a bit more for the family themselves, because everything within the frame is very personal to them. The table that's in the front of the composition is a bit of an altar to the family. There's 3 deceased relatives that are represented in just silhouette form in the background of the room, but there are images on the table in the altar that represent both the 4 that are in the image and those who aren't.
So then you look to the right and you see the mural that we painted. And so it gives you a whole different kind of spatial perspective, but also to a spatial perspective in your understanding and your thinking about this experience that you just went through. So the stairs become an experience rather than just a way to get to the top.
This has been a really fun project in a lot of ways. Just the organic nature of how we're putting this together and the creative problem solving that goes into something that's evolving and changing as you're working on it.
I went to go see the site. A couple of students that came to see the site as well. And we sat down and we had a little conversation, a little idea making. As we did that, we decided to kind of draw out just a little conception of what we had talked about. And from that, things grew, and things are still growing and still changing as we're making this. And so it's a process. You know, painting is a process. It's a building of layers. And so as we make this and as we discover new things, not only about the painting, but also about the history, those are things that end up used in the painting as well. And I think that's the beauty of the process, that constant layering and understanding of what actually needs to happen, and allowing the piece to speak to you as well, you know, to tell you what it needs and to work through that.
I think as far as like the process goes, we've done a lot more brainstorming.
I'm doing a lot of the research, the background, and now here I'm working on, you know, tweaking things within the bottom portions.
I think that's a big part of this too, is it's always life-changing and life-giving as you work with other people.
It's a full circle moment for me, you know, like to be able to be a part of trying to share the history of such a place and being able to do it alongside my mentor and my teacher, as well as alongside some students who are coming up. The idea pass it on from my father to me has always been a big thing and a big motivator for me. So being a part of that passing from one generation to another and sharing what we're doing, as well as the process by which we do it, has been pretty beautiful.
Those memories for me are just so special and so much a part of my life. I always keep that in mind, that these are the sacred places, the sacred times, and the sacred things of my life that I hope to pass on.